So let's start with the Darian Stibbe's talk, which explores how cross-sector collaboration can unlock innovation, creativity, and broader impact for collections-based organizations. The presentation highlights both the promise and the complexity of partnering, emphasizing the need to professionalize collaboration through skills development, institutional readiness, and shared standards, and how a strategic investment in these areas can transform partnerships into powerful engines for sustainable development. So let's watch Darian's lightning talk presentation.
Hello, my name is Darian Stibbe, and I am delighted to be able to join this important conference, albeit virtually. I'm the Executive Director of the Partnering Initiative. We are an international NGO that for the last 20 years or so has been dedicated to really professionalizing and driving effective cross-sector collaboration. We work extensively with the United Nations, with NGOs, with foundations, companies, codifying effective partnering practice and building the institutional capabilities for partnerships to thrive. Now, much of the conference will be talking about the opportunities for collaboration, about how by working together, you're able to deliver far more, combining resources to deliver more innovatively, more creatively, reaching new and bigger audiences. Now, I'm going to talk about how to get the vision where collaboration becomes the new normal, how working with other sectors of society becomes a standard operating model, a first approach, not a last-minute add-on. The challenge is that collaboration is challenging, and collaboration across societal sectors who are unfamiliar partners is even more challenging. Because, of course, all your partners have their own interests, their own incentives, their own values, their own behaviors, their own systems, their own language, even sometimes, their own jargon. And trying to do something collectively that creates significant value for all can be frustrating. It can take a significant amount of time, and too many partnerships are simply not delivering enough compared with the efforts that are put in. Now, back in 2024 with the United Nations, we undertook a year of research reaching out to hundreds of people from around the world to really understand what does it going to take to drive collaboration far more systematically in order that collaboration becomes the new normal and is far more effective than it is today. Now, the findings were clear and unequivocal. If we want partnerships to happen at scale, we need to invest in building the enabling accelerators for widespread partnering. And here today, I'll talk a little bit about 4 levels of investment that are required. Firstly, at the individual level, we need individuals to have the professional partnering skills that allow them to make the best, most effective, robust partnerships. Now, what are those skills? We talk about the must-have competencies. So the M in must is around mindset. When you are collaborating, it's not all about yourself. It's around how we collectively can deliver significant value. It's about understanding that actually we alone don't have all the solutions, and that by working together, we can do so much more. It's about a humility to understand the fact that others have great ideas, sometimes better than our own ideas, but more importantly, bring those ideas together and we can deliver something so much more. The U is about understanding of other societal sectors, understanding how they think and work and operate and the values and incentives behind them, the language they use. So really understanding your partners. The S is around the skills, the human relationship building skills, the negotiation skills, the having difficult conversations, because partnerships sometimes can get really challenging. All of those so-called soft skills that can be some of the hardest skills. But then also, we also need the T in the must-have, the technical knowledge of partnering. What makes for an effective partnership? What goes in a partnering agreement? All of these things. Now, together, we know that we need to bring all of these skills around the table far more widely, far more effectively. And that means sending staff perhaps through training or even through mentored professional practice, professional development rather, to help them become reflective partnership practitioners. Secondly, we need organizations to become far more institutionally fit for partnering. So having all the elements in place to really be able to smoothly drive collaboration. So many organizations we work with, from the biggest international NGOs down to the smallest community organizations, are really not set up to be able to collaborate. They really need to have the systems and processes in place, the leadership, the culture for collaboration. And that requires really analyzing your own organization and see where it's lacking and put in place the partnering policies and approaches and systems and internal guidance for effective partnering. Thirdly, we need those mechanisms for collaboration, those mechanisms that can bring together people around the table to identify good partnership ideas and that can then be supported to really turn into actual effective partnerships. We need the places, the spaces to work together. And then finally, partnerships themselves need to be set up to good practice standards. We know how to make a partnership effective. We know the building blocks of effective collaboration from the fundamentals of creating value through the relationship that we need to build, through how it's set up and structured, and the management and leadership required. But that means going through a proper process of partnering to align the partners together, develop those building blocks. Sometimes that might mean investing in a third party, a neutral party that can help all the partners through that process. If at these four levels we are able to invest in our partnerships, invest in the capabilities, invest in the infrastructure for collaboration, that way we can significantly drive collaboration and help for it to become the new normal.
Okay, so thanks to Darian, and hopefully he'll be able to join us later today. I know he's in the United Nations General Assembly, and I'm for sure like fostering some meaningful partnerships over there. So next we'll watch the presentation by Zoe, Maria, and Athina about a pioneering interministerial partnership in Greece that's advancing sustainable development goals through cultural collaboration. This initiative, this partnership involves the establishment of a Greek national node for ICCROM's Our Collections Matter initiative, highlighting efforts to boost SDG literacy at the national level, design innovative public programs, and foster knowledge exchange across museums and libraries. The talk contributes to a broader conversation on institutional cooperation and sustainable models of public sector engagement. Let's watch it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be here today at ICCROM's Collections 2030 and Beyond Global Conference. We will present a newly launched collaboration between two directorates of the Hellenic Ministry of Culture, the Directorate for Conservation and the Directorate for Archaeological Museums, and the National Library of Greece as national nodes for ICCROM Our Collections Matter program. As this is a joint presentation, colleagues from both institutions will share this announcement. Together, we aim to present the vision behind our project, our early steps and achievements, and some reflections from the beginning of this 3-year journey. I am Gkinni from the National Library of Greece, and I will begin by introducing this partnership. Both institutions share a deep commitment to public service and a strong belief that institutional synergies can achieve far more than the sum of their parts. Furthermore, we have a long-standing relationship with ICCROM. Building on this foundation, the National Library, with its mission to preserve and provide access to knowledge, and the Ministry of Culture, with its strategic reach and policy-making capacity, have joined forces to design a program that serves the public in innovative and meaningful ways. A diverse working group of 10 professionals, archaeologists, historians, conservators, and museologists, brings a wealth of expertise and perspectives to the table in order to promote the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals through the OCM program. What makes this team exceptional is not only its specialized background, but also its adaptability and the fact that we share a history of successful collaboration and trust. At the heart of this effort are 4 focal points, 2 from the National Library of Greece and 2 from the Ministry of Culture, who form the core team and maintain a direct engagement with ICCROM representatives.
Hello, I'm Maria Krini from the Directorate for Conservation of the Ministry of Culture. Our goal is to shape a creative, high-impact partnership that promotes low-cost, easily adaptable tools to help Greek museums and libraries address current challenges aligned with the SDGs. This program offers a unique opportunity to drive innovation and maximize cultural impact across museums and libraries while embedding sustainability at its core. By combining our knowledge, expertise, networks, and resources, we enhance efficiency, ensure timely implementation, and extend our reach to diverse professional communities and audiences. This approach strengthens the program's capacity to deliver long-term value in the cultural heritage sector. Although we are still at the starting line, the progress made so far has been both promising and inspiring. Together, we have built a shared framework for collaboration, set clear thematic priorities, and launched the first steps of our pilot projects. The project officially began with the formation of the working group and the signing of a memorandum of understanding with ICCROM. After 4 months of regular meetings, we established our methodology and defined the work plan. This led to the official launch of the program in Greece last June, following ICCROM's global rollout. The Greek launch introduced selected libraries and museums to the OCM program and the SDGs, encouraging active participation and providing shared resources and tools to enhance public engagement with cultural collections.
Hello, I am Athina Papadaki from the Directorate of Archaeological Museums of the Ministry of Culture. Our team's strong interpersonal connections enable problem solving, a shared approach to planning, and a forward-looking atmosphere during meetings. As with any collaboration, of course, challenges have emerged. Differences in institutional culture, administrative processes, and resource allocation have required careful negotiation and mutual understanding. We navigate these complexities with patience, transparency, and a shared sense of purpose. What makes this partnership particularly compelling is its dynamic nature. We are not simply implementing a fixed plan. We are building a living collaboration that adapts, responds, and evolves. By sharing our early experiences, we aim to contribute to a broader dialogue on how public institutions can collaborate effectively, sustainably, and creatively. We invite you to reflect with us on the value of starting strong, not with all the answers, but with a clear vision, a willingness to listen, and a commitment to building something meaningful together. And finally, we urge you to stay connected with the OCM program and follow the progress of this national initiative. Thank you for your attention.
So thanks to Zoe, Maria, and Athina for the presentation. They will be joining us for the Q&A session. Now we turn to Helen's presentation, which highlights the leadership role of the UK National Archives in supporting archives of all types across England to become more inclusive, accessible, and future-ready. We'll hear how strategic partnerships and ongoing consultation with the sector help shape a responsive leadership model, one that fosters sustainable development through collaboration, tailored support, and shared expertise. Let's watch it.
Hello, I'm Helen Wilson, Sector Development Manager at the National Archives UK. Archives are repositories of evidence, stories and memory with documents that aid legal certainty, shed light on personal and shared histories, and inform our collective national and international identities. In this presentation, I'll explain how the UK National Archives leadership role for archives in England is underpinned by partnership with the archive sector it leads, and how this partnership shapes how we support sustainable development in archives in England. The National Archives UK is the official repository of the UK Government. It is a non-ministerial department of the UK Government, allied to the Department for Culture, Media and Sport, and as such is working to meet or exceed the UK Government's targets, for example, of achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. Based in Richmond, near London, the National Archives UK is a working archive with responsibility under the Public Records Act of 1958 to preserve the collection, digital and analogue, whilst also providing access to it. Our activities are led by our strategic plans, currently Archives for Everyone, and by our vision for our bicentenary in 2038, by when we plan to be, amongst other things, a genuinely inclusive, collaborative and available National Archive, and a demonstrably sustainable National Archive, leading the archive sector both through our expertise and by example. You can follow our progress via our annual reports, which include our environment and sustainability reports, in which our activities are aligned with the SDGs. But since 2011, we are also the sector lead for archives in England. Our approach to the leadership role is a collaborative one, supporting partnerships and working to encourage a sustainable and innovative archive sector. Our dedicated archive sector leadership team works with all types and sizes of archives, and you can see a range of our support offer on this snapshot of our webpage. Additionally, as archive sector lead, we also work together with the archive sector to deliver the ambitions of the UK Government's vision for archives, specifically trust, openness and enrichment. Following the 10-year review of our leadership, which was led by consultants and included feedback from the archive sector, the archive sector leadership team identified partnership working as one of the 3 areas of focus for the development of this leadership role. Partnership with the sector is essential in our ability to support the sector in making transformative change, including in sustainability. It provides us with evidence of sector needs, ambitions and challenges, built on relationships through regional support and network support, and the creation of opportunities for feedback, for example, sector surveys and sector consultations. This is a continually evolving process to capture changing needs. Combining this information with knowledge of our leadership remit and resources, we tailor our support offer to enable archives to make impactful change in their contexts. We do this through creating advice and guidance on our web pages, providing events and training, all of which are free, as well as a suite of grants and funding specific to the archive sector. Additionally, we support archives in helping each other, for example, by celebrating their successes in advocacy documents such as A Year in Archives, which you can find on our website. We hire archives and archive consultants to create the guidance needed for the sector, and we support sector networks. For example, in 2022 we funded 3 projects in which 3 archives in England used resources from the OCM toolkit to improve their sustainability. These were the Box, the Black Cultural Archives and Harrow Archives at Headstone Manor and Museum. In planning these, we considered feedback from events such as the archive supporting environmental sustainability event, the recordings of which are freely available at the link at the bottom of this slide. We also considered feedback from consultations and surveys which showed that while there was interest from the archive sector in sustainable development, there were significant barriers to change in the form of lack of funding and lack of time. As a result, we felt it important to provide funding to archives involved in these projects to help them backfill archivist time, pay for materials and expertise, for example. We also provided recommendations on the resources that may be of value. The year-long projects were successful, and we provided an opportunity for participants to share their experience with the wider sector via a webinar, the recording of which will be available on the National Archives YouTube channel soon. I've also recommended the archives involved to other archives who are interested in completing similar projects. Another example, which I can speak about at another time, is how we've worked with the archive sector to create carbon literacy training, which we're rolling out with the aim that the archive sector will roll it out themselves. In conclusion, while we are the archive sector lead for archives in England, it is only through partnership with the archive sector that we lead and other stakeholders that we can provide the tailored, impactful support needed to achieve a sustainable archive sector. Thank you.
Thanks to Helen, who will be joining us also shortly in the Q&A session. Next, we'll hear a lightning talk by Costanza Landini, highlighting how intersectoral partnerships can harness collections as powerful tools for sustainable development. Drawing on the UNDP Latin American Caribbean team's experience, the presentation showcases how collaboration with indigenous communities, governments, and other sectors can link environmental conservation with community empowerment. It also underscored the role of legal frameworks safeguarding indigenous rights and calls on heritage organizations to actively engage in shaping inclusive and resilient futures. Let's watch it.
I'm Costanza Landini. I'm program specialist at the UNDP Regional Hub in the Environment and Energy team. It's a pleasure to be here with you today at the Collection 2030 and Beyond conference organized by ICCROM. I'm really happy to share the perspective of UNDP and see how intersectoral partnerships can be key to advance the sustainable development, putting heritage and collection at the center. So today I really want to start by giving a brief intro on what we do at UNDP. And so we work in 170 countries, and our work really focuses on human development that goes from prosperity, governance, crisis resilience, and a healthy planet. When I started to discuss with the organizers of the event, I really thought, wow, collections and heritage are not really at the center of our discussion on sustainable development. But by looking at collections and heritage as living assets, we can really twist the narrative, expand and broaden the number of partners that really work with collection and heritage for sustainable development. And so they can really become catalyst for systemic change. Today, I really want to talk with you about the Pro-Amazonia project. This is an initiative that UNDP does and implements with the government of Ecuador, whose goal is really to improve and promote forest conservation and develop deforestation-free value chains in the cocoa, in coffee, in palm oil, etc. But the interesting part of Pro-Amazonia is that UNDP and the government of Ecuador has worked together to bring to other partners to the table. So here is really the partnership element that is relevant. We work with the government at national level, at local level, but also with the financial institutions such as Ban Ecuador that provides green credit lines to producers, and also with the Green Climate Fund, which is a mechanism that has mobilized resources for deforestation-free production practices and to implement the project. So the communities are at the centers. Farmers are indigenous communities. And so if we really make the connection, they are those that have this traditional heritage that have and embody the cosmovision of indigenous people. Therefore, we could bring the perspective of heritage and collection to projects connected to sustainable development, similar to Pro-Amazonia. So that's what I want to convey today, really, that collection-based organization can be better connected to the indigenous heritage with the climate and nature finance to enhance these cultural preservation efforts. They can facilitate and strengthen these partnerships, working with indigenous communities, national government entities, and international institutions. There are also some legal frameworks, such as the Escazú Agreement, that, for instance, is binding for Latin American and Caribbean countries, that really place environmental justice at the center, as well as indigenous people. So collection-based organizations can try also to identify these legal frameworks within which they can operate. And if we work together, we can really, put collections and heritage at the center of our initiatives and see them as an engine for sustainable development. Therefore, today, I really want to make a call to action, a call to partner together. I think this space that ICCROM organizes is so valuable because we can really, meet, connect, and ideas can develop from here. So we can develop more cross-sectoral partnerships with the public, the private sector, academia, and development actors. And we can put collections and heritage at the center of the discourse around sustainable development and the 2030 agenda. Therefore, by working together, we can really ensure that collection and heritage play a transformative role in building a resilient, inclusive, and sustainable societies. I really thank you for your attention. I'm really open to follow up this conversation bilaterally, and it was a pleasure to be here with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Costanza, for the presentation. Hopefully she'll be able to join us for the Q&A session. The next presentation is by Matteo Bagnasco that showcases the role of philanthropy in advancing heritage partnerships for sustainable development. We'll hear how the Compagnia di São Paulo Foundation in Italy aligns its strategic actions with the UN's Agenda 2030, mobilizing resources and fostering public-private collaboration to elevate cultural heritage as a driver for inclusive growth. With a focus on long-term investment, institutional capacity, and territorial development, the Foundation's approach offers valuable insights into how philanthropic leadership can shape impactful and sustainable cultural initiatives. Let's watch it.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for your kind invitation. As outlined in the multi-annual strategic document 2025-2028, our foundation, Fondazione Compagnia di San Paolo, aligns its strategic actions with the United States Agenda 2030, Sustainable Development Goals. One of the foundation cross-cutting methodologies is mobilization and partnership is a key to this effort. It focuses on mobilizing additional resources and consolidating networks to extend the impact of intervention over time. Collection-based institutions play an important role from this perspective. Within this framework, heritage collection play a vital role in fostering inclusive and sustainable growth. Our foundation tries to support them. We view culture and participation as a key elements for people well-being, social cohesion, and sustainable development, as I said, of our catchment area. How we do that? Public-private partnership are a key elements of our strategy. Through our culture department, the foundation experiments forms of public-private partnership to encourage opportunities for joint investment and innovate the conservation and the management of the most important cultural heritage elements. Another important tool for us are strategic agreements according to this multi-year approach. Our foundation works in partnership with public bodies through strategic agreements according to, as I said, multi-year approach, which guarantee the implementation of projects on cultural heritage by optimizing the use of committed public resource. Moreover, as a founding member of major cultural institution in the northwest of Italy, theater, but also research center and mainly the most important museums, the foundation aims to elevate cultural assets as driver of development, local development, talent attraction, and social equity. Institutional capacity to manage investment and ensure long-term return is essential in this historic period of substantial funds like the Next Generation EU program and at government level what we call PNRR. In the current context of substantial funding opportunities, such those that I mentioned before, building institutional capacity to manage investment and ensure long-term returns, both economic and social, is more essential than ever. Our program on capacity building that we call Next Generation EU try to work on this goal with big investment to make cultural heritage bodies, professionals, institutions more sustainable and more impactful.
Thanks to Matteo, who will also be joining us shortly for the Q&A. So we close this lightning talk series with the presentation from Apoio Online, the Association for Heritage in the Americas, delivered in the voice of Beatriz Raspo, Apoio Online's Executive Director, and offering a powerful example of how long-term collaboration can drive social transformation through heritage preservation. For over 3 decades, Apoio Online has worked across the Americas and Portuguese and Spanish-speaking countries to empower professionals and communities, expand access, and reduce inequalities. We'll now hear how regional and global networks can be mobilized to foster inclusion, solidarity, and active engagement in cultural heritage, demonstrating thus the impact of collective action and sustained partnership. Let's watch it.
Good day. It is a pleasure to introduce Apoio Online, Association for Heritage Preservation of the Americas, and the program Manos à la Obra. For over 35 years, Apoio Online has been dedicated to connecting and empowering cultural heritage professionals across the Americas and Portuguese and Spanish-speaking countries. One of our most beloved initiatives is the Manos à la Obra, or Helping Hands in English, a community-based preservation program that brings to life Apoio Online's deepest belief that everyone can preserve, and when given the chance, they want to. During Apoio Online regional conferences, we partner with local libraries, museums, archives, historical homes, and other institutions to carry out hands-on basic collections care activities to preserve selected collections on a voluntary basis. But here's what matters most. The work is based on the needs of the institution. It is their collection, their priorities, their story. We don't arrive with a fixed agenda. We listen first. And then we contribute with what we have, our time, our skills, and our hands alongside volunteers, students, and community members. In 2018, we worked with the Municipal Historical Archive of the city of La Antigua in Guatemala. In 2019, we brought Manos à la Obra to the public archives of the state of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where we cleaned books, rehoused photographs and negatives, prepared adjustable covers for large volumes, using preservation supplies especially donated for this initiative. In 2021, we faced a challenge. Like so many others during the pandemic, we had to adapt. So we brought Manos à la Obra to the Dominican Republic, but this time we did it virtually. We partnered with Biblioteca Ateneu Amantes de la Luz and with the general support of ACRA, the Assembly of Conservators and Restorers of Argentina, we offered remote training in surface cleaning, rehousing, prepping materials for dedetization, and building an emergency plan. Over 50 people participated in this event, both online and in person, including the library's director. And for the staff, it was a milestone, their first ever training in preventive conservation. It was a powerful reminder that even in difficult times, with creativity and collaboration, we can still build capacity and empower local teams. In July 2025, we partnered with Biblioteca Presidente Roberto F. Chiari, Panama's first public library and a key site of national memory. Nearly 40 volunteers from 11 countries, including staff from the library and National Archives, came together to clean and rehouse fragile books, periodicals, oversized materials, and photographs related to the Panama Canal's history. And thanks to our amazing media team, the work was fully documented in video, capturing not just the preservation effort, but the shared energy, emotion, knowledge exchange, and commitment to preserving memory. The library leadership and staff were deeply moved by the care shown to their collection and community. And here's the beautiful part. Manos a la Obra is inspiring others to replicate its principles across the region, showing that preservation can be truly accessible when grounded in community engagement. In 2019, in Portugal, we held Manos a la Obra event at the Casa de Monte Redondo Museum, and this was really special. High school students, teachers, and elders came together to preserve their own family photographs. One participant, an elderly woman, brought a photo of her wedding day, and she said, and I quote, "No one ever told me this was history," and end of quote. And that was really an unforgettable moment. This Portugal project received the 9th edition of the Ibermuseus Award in Education. That's what Manos a la Obra does. It validates people's memories, it builds community, it turns preservation into an act of inclusion and sometimes even healing. In 2025, we brought Manos a la Obra to Bolivia during the 2nd International Heritage Conservation Conference in La Paz. At the Gonzalo Bedegrau Uturi Library, volunteers worked in small teams to clean books, preserve and rehouse large photographs, and update records. And the best part? The library invited them to keep coming back. And that's the spirit of Manos a la Obra. Hands-on work, grassroots partnerships, and lasting impact. One community, one memory, one helping hand at a time. So I invite you to learn more about Apoio Online, Manos a la Obra, and our other initiatives on our webpage and social media. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Muito obrigada.
Thanks to Apoio Online for this inspiring last presentation. So